Everybody needs walk-up music. Thank you. That's very nice of you. We're here to celebrate homecoming and to have some fun. But unfortunately, we do that in the context of sadness. So I would like to begin with a moment of silence to show our unity with the people of Israel and all Jewish people and all other victims of the war of hatred and violence that's being inflicted by Hamas right now. So please, if you'll join me, bow your heads for a few seconds. Thank you, and may peace prevail. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to Case Western Reserve's University Homecoming 2023 and our Blue Bash. We're so glad that you could join us tonight. So we have a couple of special mentions before we start. Two of our trustees, Chuck Hallberg, who is here, and Gordon Daly. Thank you both for being here. Now, I know it's good to clap for my bosses, so please, I appreciate that. I know you've all come tonight to connect and to have some fun. We want to be respectful of that, so I'm going to be sure to keep this portion of the program relatively brief and moving along so you can get back to mingling as soon as possible. And that's another way to say that I am fully aware that the bar closes at 7, so we'll leave you time. A few of my colleagues and I want to take just a few minutes to tell you about one project in particular that we are so excited about because it promises to have an absolutely tremendous transformative impact on the university. And that project is our interdisciplinary science and engineering building, which we call ISEB. So on this slide, you'll see our institutional priorities. I've said this to every group I've met with in the past 2.5 years since I've been here, and they are simply to elevate academic excellence, to expand our research enterprise, and to enhance community engagement. And of course, underlying everything that we do is a rock-solid commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The ISEB that we want to talk to you about this evening addresses our second priority because it will provide us with much needed research space, especially at the College of Arts and Sciences and the Case School of Engineering. It will also go a long way towards helping us to achieve our shorter-term research goal, which is to grow our annual research expenditures, the proxy for the intensity of work that we do, to $600 million a year from our baseline of $400 million 2 years ago. That's an increase of 50%, reasonable goal, and we want to do it as quickly as possible, and we are doing it quickly. So what is the ISEB? And here's a recent rendering of the building, which will be located on the Case Quad where Yost Hall stands now. Now, some of you have been affiliated with this institution long enough to not only know where Yost Hall is, but to have lived in Yost Hall. So could I get a show of hands of how many of you actually lived in Yost when it was a dormitory? Oh, very good. I will sell you a brick afterwards, and we've talked about this, so just so you know. They're really expensive, but gorgeous bricks. So the ISEB will be a research-only building, and it's dedicated to collaborative discovery, research, and innovation. It'll be about 200,000 square feet in size, and it will be shared with researchers from the Case School of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the School of Medicine. We like to think of it as a space for organic collaborations and unexpected collisions between creative and innovative people. It'll have enough space for about 70 principal investigators and their teams of about 6 or 7 each, so about 500 people will occupy it. These things aren't cheap. The total cost of the building will be about $300 million. We will finance half of that. We already have financed half of that with the Century bond that we issued last year at a very nice interest rate, and half of it will be financed through philanthropy, and we're off to a tremendous start, as you'll hear in just a little bit, towards that goal. We've already raised more than $60 million towards the $150 million philanthropy goal, and that is putting us only 6 months ahead of our fundraising schedule. I think this speaks to the broad support for ISEB and the rejuvenation of our research activity in principle. We've selected a firm called HGA as our design architect and Turner as a construction partner. We're going to begin construction next year, in 2024, with occupancy scheduled for 2026, which is just in time for the university's bicentennial celebration of the founding of Western Reserve College in Hudson in 1826. So as I mentioned, it will be located on the site of Yost Hall. You can see that a bit better here with Tomlinson on the right and Wickenden on the left. One of the things about this building, one of the many important things about this building, is that the design will open up the MLK approach to our campus and create an inviting and welcoming entrance to the Case Quad. For too long, that side of our campus appeared to be turning its back on the community. And for those of you fortunate enough to live in Cleveland Heights, when you come down Cedar and drive by MLK, those row of buildings look like the back of a refrigerator. Those are the Case of Cliff, the cliffs of Case. And there's no way, metaphorically or physically, to say we don't want our community here than that row of the backside of buildings. So this is going to transform that opening into a green, accessible entrance to campus. It will be an aesthetic transformation and say a lot about our relationship with our neighbors. Here you'll see a closer look at that entrance to the Case Quad from MLK. So I'd like now to spend a little time and invite a few of my colleagues up on stage so that they can briefly share with you just how ISEB will impact their particular areas of responsibility at the university. And so as I introduce you, if you'd please come up. First, our Senior Vice President for Research and Technology Management, Michael Oakes, our Interim Provost and Executive Vice President, Joy Ward, and we're joined by 3 deans. First, you can clap for them all you want. These are nice people. We're joined by 3 deans. First, the interim dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, Lee Thompson, the dean of the Case School of Engineering, my school, Raghu Balakrishnan, and finally, the dean of the School of Medicine, Stan Gersten. So please welcome them all. Thank you. Okay, you got to go in order. It's very important. I know, don't mess up.
Hard to get good help.
Hard to get good help. So, Michael, if you'd kick us off with sharing a bit more about the impact that you see ISEB having on our research enterprise.
Thank you, President Keeler. Good evening, everyone. It's such a delight to be here. I'm just finishing my first year here, and it's such an exciting time to be here. Amongst the reasons, one is this new interdisciplinary science and engineering building. As you can see, the architects and the builders will make a beautiful structure. I've been keenly interested in what happens inside, the culture, the discovery, the translation of research. That's the focus of my job. The idea of the ISEB is to give our terrific faculty more tools, more opportunity to engage with each other, with the community, to find out new things about the world, and to get them out to have impact. In our world, impact is the name of the game. Saving lives, improving products, doing things with the earth, and really having a terrific impact on human existence. The ISEB will give us the space which we desperately need. We really need it for our research in chemistry and biology and engineering, material science, discovery, and so forth. So the researchers will be in this building, and unlike the cartoons we might have seen as children, where you might have seen the scientist in his lab with his coat and the test tube, that's long gone, thank goodness. Now, We have scientists in more or less open labs bumping into each other, as President Kaler says, having collisions, where they say, hey, what are you working on? What are you working on? And off we go to new knowledge and new discovery. So the ISEB is just an important element of achieving our $600 million growth goal and surpass it, which the President knows what I want to do, so that it has tremendous impact. And so this building, through its structures, through its design, through its machines, and through the generosity of folks like you, will become really the pillar of the growth of the impact of Case Western Reserve University. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Joy, we all know that the beating heart of a university is its faculty. Could you speak a little bit to how this building will help us retain our faculty and provide great research experiences for our students?
Absolutely, President Kaler. Case Western Reserve University really has some of the top faculty in the world. These are award-winning faculty that spend their days and often nights trying to solve some of the biggest societal challenges that we have. And the majority of those challenges take more than one discipline in order to solve them. They take a multidisciplinary approach. And so this building is really going to be a game changer where those faculty can come together in really world-class space to do research and advance the real problems of our society and make a real difference really for all of us. So that's important here, and it really will help the competitive ability of our faculty to bring in high-level federal grants that are so essential to that type of work. Then in addition to that, as we're trying to bring to Case Western Reserve the very best faculty in the world, they will take a look at this space, and whether they're in the building or not with respect to their lab, they will want to take advantage of that building and collaborate, go to that place and interact in the spaces of the building. So it will enhance really the entire campus, not just those in the building. And then lastly, we always have to think about our students. Our students work side by side with our faculty every day. Our faculty put immense amounts of time into transferring the knowledge in their discipline to that next generation. And this is a building where our students will work side by side with faculty, solving some of our biggest challenges, and they share those authorship on papers, and they share the work of writing grants with faculty, and that's how they really learn how to solve problems in our world. So this is going to be ideal space for them and for our faculty and for really the campus to come together.
Raghu and Lee, this building will be the home for some terrific collaborative research between faculty in both of your colleges. So maybe you two could riff a little bit about the opportunities you see for collaboration and some of the topics that we might explore there.
Sure, thank you, President Kaler. So I'm going to start with a view from engineering. So if you look at, of course, the theme of ISEB is research. And as Joy mentioned, research is important, certainly for the student experience. You know, many of our undergraduate students, of course, have a research undergraduate experience. In addition, of course, research is integral to any graduate student experience, so that's very clear. But beyond that, research is also important for building a reputation. Many of our rankings depend on research. So research is very, very important. Now, if you look at research over the past 5 decades or so, it's been evolving a little bit. About 5 decades ago, research was focused on perhaps a single investigator, simply because in those days, you know, you couldn't really look at the bigger problem because you had to focus on some specific aspects of it. So typically research was done in those days as an almost solitary endeavor with one PI, with perhaps their own 3 or 4 graduate students. So if you look at the buildings currently in engineering, and I'm sure across the university, they are laid out in the old model where the buildings have one room where the faculty sits, and maybe there's a room nearby where all the graduate students sit, and that was it. But now as technology has evolved, we have the ability to look at the bigger picture, the bigger and bigger picture. By technology, I mean the ability to model more complex systems, the computation that helps us analyze more a system-level interpretation of things. So we are able to go after much bigger problems. So research has gone on from this more solitary single PI endeavor to a much broader collaborative endeavor. Of course, it's easy that that has evolved fast, but then if you look at our buildings, they are much more static, and our buildings are a little bit old-fashioned. And so in engineering, for the longest time, we've struggled with how to even within engineering, bring together multiple researchers so that they can put their strengths together and solve problems of larger and larger ambit. And that's been a struggle for us. And so when President Kaler mooted the idea of the ISCB, our eyes all got big because, hey, finally we have the ability to co-locate, bring together researchers within engineering from multiple disciplines. But even beyond that, now we have the ability to bring in researchers from across the university, and then we are able to bring them all together. They all get a chance to have these chance collisions, as you mentioned. Students are all around. They all have conversations. It's amazing, of course, with COVID, we all gotten somewhat comfortable with being a little isolated, but I'm telling you, there is no substitute to people just randomly walking in and having these, water cooler conversations and all that stuff. So I'm just totally excited that this is going to really be a game changer for engineering. We are right now already on a nice trajectory in engineering. We have, in our history of engineering, we are at record research expenditures. But I think that the building will push the graph up, and we're going to go through much greater heights much faster, so the building will be a game changer. So to give one example, and I kind of talked about generalities, to give you one example, one of the biggest problems facing us today is the idea of storing energy, electrical energy, that's batteries. And the research in batteries is led by our researchers in chemical engineering. We have great world-leading researchers in that area in chemical engineering, and they collaborate very closely with world-leading researchers from chemistry. So that's one example of where we can co-locate researchers from chemical engineering with those from chemistry and let them work the magic, and maybe other things that they hadn't really had a chance to think about will come to fore. Right now they are far apart. The hope is that we bring them close. So that's one example I can think of. I'm going to turn it over to Liv to say a few words about what else you
thanks,
think might be
Raghu.
coming.
I couldn't agree with Raghu more. I know for years and years our faculty have been clamoring for breaking down the barriers. We want to work together, but we couldn't make it as easy as we needed to, and now we are going to. And so as Raghu mentioned, our chemistry faculty are already working very hard in areas of energy storage and sustainability. They're also really very actively engaged in drug discovery, which also connects very nicely with the School of Medicine. Some of the other sciences, physics, for example, they're working with smart microscopes that really can be applied to a whole bunch of different areas of focus that are going to be in the ISCB. Biology, neurorobotics. Also, we have Nose on a Chip, which is using a biohybrid model to tackle health challenges. But it may be obvious to all of you that the sciences would automatically be connected with the ISCB, and you'd be correct. But all of the disciplines in the college have great potential for being engaged with this interdisciplinary work. So for example, Michael has already got the ball rolling for a computational core, and our applied math and statistics faculty are very excited and engaged in that potential. In addition, we have experts in data science. We have experts in ethics and artificial intelligence, and you cannot turn on the news today, any day, without hearing about the need to do that, the challenges that are inherent in AI. And AI is just pervasive right now across all of our schools. So I just have this vision of the PIs, their postdocs, their graduate students, their undergraduate students working in these beautiful collaborative spaces that you can see in the renderings of the ISCB, and they're just going to incubate and create even more great ideas. I know Stan has a bunch to tell you too.
So Stan, medicine, of course, is a dominant topic of research at this university. So share your views of how this building can facilitate collaborations with engineering, with sciences, and with medicine.
Thank you, President Kaler. So the only way a faculty member from the School of Medicine can buy a ticket to get inside the ISCB is through an inter-school collaboration, and that's our goal. And I'm going to give you two examples of how we can't do it without arts and sciences and engineering. So the first example, and they're related. The first example is in what we call chemical biology, which is the development of small chemical compounds into drugs that target a specific peptide or protein or DNA site for therapeutics. So we have experts in genetics and in finding the pathways and the specific proteins that cause disease when they're abnormal. We need the organic chemists, the synthetic chemists. We need biomedical engineers who can help us with nano delivery and nano discovery to link together in the ISEB. And so we're going to bring a couple of people from the School of Medicine and an equal number or greater from Arts and Sciences and Engineering to build a team that will be very effective at therapeutic discovery and development. And the second portion of this is our biomedical engineering group, who focuses on artificial intelligence and drug discovery, on nanotherapeutic and delivery, on what I call a field of energy therapeutics, which is our ultrasound, radionucleotide, MR imaging, and MR delivery of heat that help us navigate specific targets for therapeutics. And our engineers understand this space better than I do. Now, you heard about health on a chip. We have an incredibly creative engineer who will be in this building, who's working with our cell therapy group to develop release criteria for cell and gene therapy. So right now, it costs well over $500,000 to receive a new therapy for myeloma and lymphoma. Part of the reason is that the cells get shipped off to a major center, they get grown, and then they get stored for a month while they do a series of tests. Our colleague in engineering, who right now is 4 blocks away, will become next door lab mates, has developed a technology that will let us do it in 4 hours so we can deliver the cells back to a patient in a day, not a month. And that will save lives. So the ability to bring this group together is just overwhelmingly significant for the School of Medicine.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you to my colleagues. I hope all of you can understand the excitement that we all feel about the potential this building will unlock for us. So thank you. We won't have a Q&A right now, but we'll be around during the reception, so please feel free to buttonhole one or more of my friends for more details. So thank you for coming to the stage. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been fortunate in fundraising for the ISEB, so I'd like to take time to recognize 2 of our generous supporters. The first is Miguel Zubarreta. I call him Miguel Z for obvious reasons. Miguel earned his bachelor's degree in computer engineering from Case Western Reserve University, and he's a former CTO and executive vice president of Highland Software. He has been a tremendous supporter for many organizations in the Cleveland area, including this university. We are honored that he has supported the ISEB with a gift of $1.5 million, and I'd ask you to please welcome Miguel to the stage.
Thank you very much. I came to Case Western Reserve in 1983. My father was a professor here, and he encouraged me to come to one of the finest engineering schools in the country. He's still with us. He's always been a big supporter of Case. From the very beginning, I realized the huge opportunity that Case brought me when Case inaugurated its Smith Computer Lab. It transformed what my education would have been like. My brother, which was the previous class, was still using the paper punch cards from IBM, and I got to use a PC on a desktop. I'm sure that had a big impact on my trajectory and allowing me to create and develop things into the future. So when I sat here and I listened to the same group of people at a beautiful outdoor space at Maker's Mark, and they explained why they thought this was so important, I could not agree more. The reality of it is that great inventions in the past might have been the core science by itself, but today any amount or any significant invention requires significant computing, significant interaction between different people. Even when we talk about the most rudimentary things, I was going to bring up my cell phone, which I left on the table. But when you look at your cell phone, is that just like a cell phone device that happens to have a pretty screen, or is there a thermometer, an accelerometer, multiple gyroscopes that are spinning at 10,000 RPMs inside of that? That is an example of how industry went way beyond just saying, we're going to do one thing, and said, what can we do when we bring everything together? Well, what we can achieve when we bring all of the disciplines together into creating scientific discovery is huge, and that is what the future is going to be like. And if Case wasn't moving in this direction, eventually research organizations would be left behind, because industry is already thinking that way. They're already mixing people from all the different disciplines. But the universities have a unique opportunity to create and to develop and discover. And I'm so very proud to be donating to this effort. I'm a first generation immigrant. I now am one of the 1%, and so I decided that I would write a check for 1% of what the dean was looking for. So thank you very much.
Now, of course, we're looking forward to Miguel becoming part of the top 1/10 of 1% of the 1%. We'll do that math again. So also among our leading donors is the Case Alumni Association, who has generously supported the ISEB with a $5 million gift. The Case Alumni Association has been a loyal supporter of our engineering programs and the sciences at the college, and they do a terrific job of engaging alumni. The commitment of $5 million on top of everything else the association does for the Case School of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences, and for our students means a great deal to us. So at this time, I welcome Joe Fakolt, the immediate past president of the Case Alumni Association, to the stage to share why this investment was so important to the CAA. Joe.
Thank you, President Kaler. So, as he said, my name is Joe Fakolt. I'm from the class of 1990. I graduated with a degree in mechanical engineering. I am local from Willowick, Ohio, and I ended up becoming, thank you, got a Willowick attendee. I was a commuter student, and I crossed paths with Miguel when we were both in undergraduate at the same time. So it's good to catch up on old friends at this reunion time. Something else, you see the power of somebody like Miguel, who's learned what he has learned here at Case. Well, I represent an organization, the Case Alumni Association, of about 30,000 of people like that. And so we do a lot on campus. We do, of course, support our students with scholarships. We support student groups. And I happen to be the president of this organization when the ISEB came into being and was conceptualized. And I thought to myself, and I shared with my other board members, I said, well, does this, making a donation to the ISEB, does that fit within the mission of our organization? And we, went down the line and we said, yes, we support the students, we support the faculty, we support research, we support laboratories, and but this was the first time that we had ever been approached for making a donation to support directly a facility. And I am very proud that myself and in conjunction with our board, with all of our past presidents, and with all of our alumni, unanimously, the alumni organization wanted to support this building. So we are very proud. I was so happy to be part of a leader for this program, because I think it's important for the fundraising effort to understand that the faculty are behind this, or not the faculty, of course the faculty are behind it, but the alumni are behind it. And I am confident in saying that we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to the CAA. And thank you all for coming this evening. As I shared earlier, The bar closes at 7, but the food will last till 7:30. And the public celebration for the Blue Bash begins on Freiburger Field at 7, where there will be live music performances and installations by our talented faculty, staff, and students, so be sure to check it out. And if your bedtime allows, please do stay for our fireworks, which will begin at 9:45 p.m. So thank you, and please enjoy the rest of your evening, and welcome with a round of applause our terrific musicians back to the stage. Thank you for being here.